What is up, bros? Me, Josh here, and in today's video, I'm going to go over the new public test server that is live right now. I'll put a link down in the description if you guys haven't ever played on a test server. It's pretty nice to get the first little view of what is potentially coming to the game. Now, all of these things aren't finalized, and that's kind of one of the things I really want to talk about is there's a couple main changes to this game. This is a big patch, a big game-changing patch. We've had a couple of them within the past year or so that have really kind of changed how the game was played for certain roles, and this is definitely going to be one. So this is going to be more of a, not so much going over the public test server, but kind of discussing some of the changes and what my thoughts are on those changes. There's two main ones really, and but yeah, I'll put a link down below. You guys should definitely check out test server if you can. It's 6.3, so it's up for a few more days, about a week or so. You can get some, some free stuff, some nice extra camos and flags and that kind of thing. So that's kind of nice little bonuses for just playing, but really go in there to really test some new stuff out. And there's a lot of new changes. You don't have to start from one everything. It's basically all, almost get everything for free, almost play like a game or two on each ship and you're kind of good. So jumping into what is being changed in the 6.3 aircraft carrier controls, mainly it's going to be, this whole video is going to be over aircraft carriers and stealth firing. Those are the two main topics I really want to talk about, and let's kind of dive right into those. Aircraft carrier changes, the controls are changing, so it looks like they're going to maybe like make it a little easier to use for newer players. This is kind of nice. I don't think it really matters in the end. That's a pretty minor change, I guess, but some of the controls probably less precise than like manual dropping, that kind of stuff. So they are changing some extra controls, so that is kind of nice. It defaults to off for that. So if you're used to playing CVs how they were, this is kind of nice for maybe like newer players coming into the role. Some of the main changes for this, though, we're disabling the alt attack feature for tier 4 and 5. I think this is an awful idea. What are you doing, Wargaming? Please, no. So basically what they're trying to do, they say this should bring better balance to carriers at low tiers. And so kind of what they're saying is this should hopefully stop seal clubbing at low tiers. I think we have a much bigger problem, and I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments below if I am wrong. I think we have a much bigger problem with CVs of having a giant population of CV players, which the population really isn't even that big, of people that can't play the role correctly anyways. You have guys in tier 7 and 8 that still don't know how to manual drop. This is a thing people need to learn. CVs are probably one of the most, I don't know, skill-based roles in World of Warships, and if there's only one on each team, if you have one good CV against a really bad CV, that has a massive impact on your game and a massive impact on the outcome of what's going to happen in that game. If you have if you have two good CVs and kind of cancel each other out, and they're still going to be a pain in the butt, but still it's manageable. But that is probably the one. I mean, if you have a one bad battleship and one good battleship, it's going to have an impact, but it's not as much as a CV. So I don't like this. I don't like that they're getting rid of a really strong tool for even low tiers. These guys are going to get into tier 6s, tier 7s without knowing how to alt drop. This is a massive problem. This is something that these guys should, or these newer players should know how to do, and it's awesome for training in these low tiers on how to do these. Train in co-op, but if they can't train those and they're thrown right into a Ryujo or right into an Independence, and they don't know how to alt drop, you are basically dumbing down the newer CV population. I completely disagree on that. I really think they should keep CV's low tiers at least how they were, and it also they should have a massive kind of campaign in CVs that really keeps you in co-op, and mainly, I don't know, certain missions you have to do where you actually will get put into a story mode or something like that for your CVs and actually train. I mean, obviously there are people that still seal club. If you go into a tier 2, you're going to see plenty of umakazes with 500, 1,000 games in umakazes. But comparing seal clubbing CVs, and seal clubbing is basically when you have somebody who's, has played a lot of games, has a lot of knowledge in that, and then they're playing against basically new people. That's what quote unquote seal clubbing is. But But if you have all these people that don't get to do that, and then they jump right into a more skill-based tier in tier 6, 7, 8, whatever, what have you, I think this is a huge. I think this is a huge mess up by Wargaming. I think this is a terrible idea. Tier 4 and Tier 5 is where the CV starts and where you should learn how to play those classes. But I don't think the problem is mainly seal clubbing CVs. I think it's inexperienced CVs that are going through the low tiers to higher tiers. I think this is a really bad mistake by Wargaming, and I hope this doesn't stick, or I hope they add something to give some education to the lower tier CVs. Enough of that, though. Let's move on to see if they can use alt attack manual squads feature for particular check the flight control module, blah, blah, blah. Fighters can now be removed from an enemy attack, which is kind of nice, especially for, I guess, maybe like going against a fighter loadout. What a lot of people will do if they have 2 fighters versus 1 fighter in any kind of situation, mainly IGN versus the USN CVs, is they will grab a fighter with 1, lock it up, and then strafe it, and then do a massive amount of damage. So this is one thing that kind of lets you get out of that attack. This gets away with maybe some people that don't know how to strafe still. A lot of people don't know how to strafe or use the alt ability. Same thing. And this is potentially going to make a pretty big skill gap again on strafing and the barrage attack. We'll see how this works as it goes through. You guaranteed to lose a plane anyway. All other than the Saipan. The Saipan is the smaller squads. So kind of interesting. We'll see how this kind of works. There's potential for maybe kind of mastering this ability and really kind of maybe being able to abuse it as well. But we'll see as it gets going. Once the carrier is destroyed, her squads will maintain their position after fulfilling a particular order rather than returning to the carriers. I don't like this. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice, but I don't think CV should be able to just keep their planes up. Mainly the fact because there's such an imbalance between USN and IGN CVs, starting at basically tier 5, tier 6, tier 5 is when the biggest discrepancy starts, with the Bogue Balanced has 2 squads and the Zuio has 4 squads. So it gives a pretty good advantage to the IGN, another advantage to the IGN CVs. So I don't think this is the best idea, but this isn't super major. It just might be kind of annoying for some destroyers, some stealthy cruisers, and just maybe just detection in general. But not the biggest fan of this, mainly the squads of the IGN Nation over the USN. So kind of a meh there. Double clicking feature. This is one that's kind of nice. You can click on the map without sending your planes there. Pretty minor, but it is a nice little fix. Fighters will, with a speed higher than their targets, basically this is on the barrage ability. So this is going to basically, instead of them flying right by their attacking aircraft, it's going to make strafing or barraging as you're going towards planes about to strike something. They're going to go a bit slower, so it's potentially for a much more devastating strike on the attacking aircraft. So I guess that's kind of nice. And then they've added a visual buoy line for the aircraft views, which is kind of minor. So my biggest knock on this is this. I think the tier 4 and 5 no manual drops. I think this is a terrible idea. I'm completely against this. Without some kind of training process, I think this is really just absolutely wrecking CVs. Again, I think inexperienced CV players is a much bigger problem than guys going down to low tiers and just kind of having fun with some games. Now, I know that does happen. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I'm saying there's a much bigger problem than having guys going down to low tiers and just picking on newer players. I mean, if they want to do that, then just don't let people with high amount of games play in lower tiers, or I think they have set it up that guys with or players with less than 500 games are going to only queue against players with less than 500 games, that kind of thing. Give them a different matchmaking. I am not exactly sure, but I don't think this is going to solve the problem of quote-unquote seal clubbing and whatnot. So we'll see how this works out in the end. I'm against it right now. Second, some other small changes. Smokescreen timer, which is kind of nice. Basically, what Wargaming has started to do is all the popular mods, basically the external mods, Wargaming's kind of bringing in. So this will be kind of interesting. Add the smokescreen and some other kind of minor stuff here. Balance cruncher. This is the second main topic I really want to talk about, is blind firing, stealth firing. I always call it blind firing. I apologize. Shooting when you're invisible / not open on open water cause more pain than profit in update 0.6.3, making a ship detectability after firing a main gun shell equal to that of the ship's maximum range the moment it fires. This change should eliminate situations in which a ship with minor detectability range could fire while remaining invisible to the enemies. This change will apply to firing open water only. It won't apply after firing over obstacles. So basically kind of like it is right now. I think this is another, now hear me out on this, I think this is another really, really bad idea. This is going to really, really hurt the DD population in general. If you know of a certain nation right now that basically already has this problem, it's called the German DDs. The German DDs are basically not played right now. Why? They're not super stealthy, you know, the torps are pretty decent range, but whenever they shoot, they're spotted instantly, and then they are super focused down, meaning that they are very, very hard to play, not that fun to play. They get super punished for ever shooting. So it's kind of interesting because back in the past, Wargaming has toned down the IGN torps. They got rid of that. They increased the area, the distance you could detect torps. They added vigilance in. So many ships have sonar now, especially some of the battleships. So you have a lot of these things that will help you against torpedoes, but they want to get away, what seems like, from, you know, some ships that can stealth fire. Now, I 100% agree that there shouldn't be any cruisers that can stealth fire. I'm 100% okay with that. The Zao should not be able to stealth fire. The Belfast should not be able to stealth fire. Insert really any cruiser. I think the Minotaur can even technically stealth fire. There's a lot of ships that just shouldn't be able to stealth fire because of their size. Now, I'm not saying that like the Akizuki stealth firing at 8.9 kilometers is okay. I'm not saying that the Bwiss is okay. I'm not saying that that the USNDD line, most of those can stealth fire about 9.6, 10-ish or somewhere around there. I'm not saying that that's okay, but completely taking away stealth firing is going to really, really, really affect the, I think in the long run, a lot of the DD population. Basically what you're telling those ships is you are going to only be able to use your guns against other destroyers, and then after that you are kind of set to a torp boat. Now, of course, you can look at the Russian DDs and say they can do it. Why can everything else? The thing about the Russian DDs is they have a very low trajectory shell, very fast reload. They're very fast in general, and they can kind of dodge, and that's just something you hear that you're kind of used to. They don't have that stealth. So really this kind of hurts the USN line a lot. The IGN line doesn't really hurt that much, but yeah, it's kind of brutal. It's going to be interesting to see what they do because Wargaming, yes, they do change certain premiums, but they are going to be hitting a couple premiums, especially the Bwiss, the Błyskawica, the Polish destroyer. That was the strength of the ship, being able to stealth fire very, very well, and constantly stealth firing basically. So that going all the way out, basically almost, I would say, kind of kills that ship. It's not as stealthy as the other ships at its tier. So you're basically annihilating that ship. The Akizuki is going to get a pretty big nerf then because the stealth firing is kind of one of its super strong suits, I guess. You could be this annoying pest that just kind of slowly beats everything down. You know, this is going to hit a lot of destroyers, and I think I'm nervous about what's going to happen with the destroyer population. You know, really kind of having to rely on their torps, and, you know, if a lot of ships, you know, don't have super long range torps or anything like that, which they've done a lot with the IGN line. They've really gotten away with the long range torps. It's going to put a lot of ships, especially with how much radar there is, how much sonar, how much everything, especially with how many planes are still going to be in the sky, apparently. It's going to really put a weird strain on destroyer players. It's really going to punish a lot of destroyers that aren't really paying attention. Maybe they don't have the best map awareness, so, you know, people that are used to playing those, that can get away with it a little bit, disengage better with the stealth fire, are really going to have a tough time. And this is something that's going to have to see how it plays out. I've been saying on my streams, I'm calling Wargaming's bluff on this. I don't think this will go through all the way. I think there will be a major backlash. That is 100% my guess. This could easily go through, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to really, really hurt a lot of the destroyer lines. I mean, basically, they want to turn gun-wise every destroyer line into the German line. So as soon as you shoot, you're spotted, and you have to deal with it. So CV changes and stealth firing. Those are the things that we're looking at right now. You guys heard my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about it. Yeah, I know there are some ships that really, really do need the nerfs. You know, as I said before, the Zal, the Belfast, insert whatever cruisers can stealth fire. I'm not okay with that. But like, there's certain destroyers that I wouldn't quite say need it, but I could see like as the Błyskawica, the tier 7 Polish destroyer, can stealth fire at 10.4 kilometers, can fire at 14.4. Forever and always, that ship has been my secret. I don't know why more people don't have it, but that ship is crazy strong. I have always said I think it's one of the most OP ships in the game. But taking away its stealth firing at totally basically means that it's going to have just a terrible time. It has kind of okay torps, but a detection of 6.8, and now your torps are only going to be able to throw it at 8 kilometers. What you're basically doing is you're taking these destroyers now and you're pushing them farther away from the fight. So the games are going to get slower, the games are going to get more farther apart, destroyers are going to be scared to shoot, which means other destroyers, it's going to be this weird, tug of war or something like that, where who's going to get close enough to then get obliterated and then kind of feel the wrath of being spotted whenever you shoot. So it's going to be really, really interesting. This will be an interesting thing to see play out. But guys, those are my thoughts on 6.3. If you haven't, be sure, I think this is a really important one to go check out the public test. I'll be checking out on my next stream. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the CV changes. Let me know what you think of stealth firing, and let me know about what you think just of the changes in general. I'm always interested. This is more of a discussion than like, here are my thoughts, take them and run. I'm interested in what you guys have to think about this. It's always good to get more heads, more brains thinking about this kind of stuff, and then maybe we'll see what happens in the end. But guys, that is it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. The public test 0.6.3, lots of changes to come. Remember, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.